Intel Arc 140V 2 GPU tested at CompuBench, much faster than Radeon 780M and on par with GTX 1650. Intel's Arc 140V ICPA featuring 2 GPU cores has been tested at CompuBench and delivers great graphics performance. Intel's Arc 140V 2 ICPA for Lunar Lake delivers great performance in CompuBench graphics tests. The Lunar Lake CPUs are getting tested more frequently than before as we approach the launch next week. We have already seen a couple of benchmarks of Core Ultra 200V CPUs, but very few of theirs 2 ICPAs. This time, we have the leaked benchmark of the Intel Arc 140V integrated graphics, which will be part of Intel Core Ultra 7 and Ultra 9 processors. The Arc 140V was previously tested on CompuBench, roughly a month ago. Once again, the Arc 140V 2 GPU has been spotted on CompuBench, but now with more accurate representation of the performance. Before delving into the results, keep in mind that CompuBench isn't the best platform to compare the GPU performance as it offers mostly OpenCL results, but with the new Geekbench benchmarks, it does look like the Arc 140V is close to entry-level discrete GPUs such as Nvidia's GTX 1650 and also close to the new Radeon 890M ICPA, which has doubled the core count of 16 compute units based on the newer Radeon A3.5 architecture. In the Compute tab, the level set segmentation -128 and 256 scores have been improved dramatically. Not only the Arc 140V has resulted in a strong 40% and 10% uplifts in the tests respectively compared to the last time, but it has also increased the performance gap between itself and the Radeon 780M, which scored 2390.41 voxels, and 2972.968 voxels, respectively. This is possibly due to getting official support for the latest Intel GPU driver, which was released a few days back. There are plenty of other areas where the compute performance of the Arc 140V has seen some noticeable performance uplifts. The interesting part is the graphics tab, where the Arc 140V can be seen much ahead of the 780M. On-screen tests in Aztec Ruins normal tier and Aztec Ruins high tier, the 140V scores 74.9 FPS and 50.3 FPS respectively compared to 80.1 FPS and 60.9 FPS respectively by Radeon 780M. A lot of graphics results are missing from the Radeon 780M page, but the Intel Arc 140V 2 has been tested in almost every high-level and low-level test, including both on-screen and off-screen results. The Arc 140V may not outperform the Radeon 780M in the Aztec Ruin test, but we need some solid real-world benchmarks to come to this conclusion. It is worth pointing out that AMD's Ryzen i9 HX 370 APUs with the Radeon 890M ICPA can have TDPs configured from as low as 15 watts to as high as 54 watts. The discrete GPUs also run between 35 to 75 watts, and that's only for the GPU, while the Arc 140V shares the TDP with the Lunar Lake SoC, which is rated at 17 watts at PL1 and a peak of 30 watts at PL2. As seen on CompuBench, the Arc 140V was using 8 GB of shared system memory and had a 2000 MHz frequency. This could mean the tested CPU was probably either the Intel Core Ultra 266V or 268V. The Arc 140V is based on this 2 LPG architecture and will come as a part of mobile-specific Lunar Lake chips, which are expected to launch on 3 September.